Everybody tends to be focusing on the big Super Smash Bros. Announcement in the Nintendo Direct last month, and you know what? I can't blame them. Smash is a huge franchise. One that unites various Nintendo fans and gets us collectively hyped about one product. And to be completely honest, it sort of made up for a fairly lackluster Direct, one that was filled with mainly updates of older games and ports. And to many, it seems that Nintendo is relying on updates for older games and ports of older games on the Nintendo Switch to make it succeed and get it through 2018. We've only had one new main game release so far, and it's already April. We need some new stuff. And yes, there are announcements of other games other than Smash Bros., Mario Tennis Aces, and Octopath come to mind, but those are two fairly minor titles overall. Yes, I've expressed that I'm extremely excited for these two titles to come out, but they don't have nearly the amount of mainstream appeal as something like Smash does. We need some more big titles for 2018, and E3 is the place where we expect those to be announced. Now, because of the lackluster 2018 so far, many are expecting E3 to come out in a similar way, not being too exciting without many big announcements. But what if I told you that Nintendo's E3 2018 could realistically be one of the greatest they've ever had? Why would I think this? Well, let's talk about some things that have already been announced for the Nintendo Switch that we haven't got updates on in a long time. Let's start with Pokemon. A new mainline game announcement was made at E3 last year and was supposed to come out within the next year, but we haven't heard anything about it yet. There are many fake leaks about Pokemon Switch that have been going around recently, and it's just because people are so desperate to get some new information on that announcement from last year. People know it's coming, and it's a painful wait to see what it's going to be like. Nintendo probably realizes this, and they're waiting for that big E3 reveal, or they're gonna do a teaser before E3 and then do the full reveal at the event. Pokemon is one of the most separate franchises from the main Nintendo brand, and they like to do their own announcements. However, they do rely on Nintendo in some cases to do the big promotion for them. Pokemon Sun and Moon is a primary example of this, where the huge reveal of that game was at E3, the first time that we got gameplay of it. However, the announcement was made prior to that. This means that the possibility of us getting an announcement for a new generation at this point in time can't be entirely ruled out yet, and it could still come out this year. Just because of the previous announcement, I think it is pretty likely that we could get some details announced about Pokemon Switch in this E3. Now, I already touched on Smash, and there has to be some big stuff about that game in E3. I expect Smash to carry this E3. We already got the announcement of the Invitational coming, so people are going to be playing that game. It's guaranteed that we're going to get some gameplay shown, and I hope some new characters as well. It's almost virtually guaranteed that we're going to get some new characters, because in the Invitational, you're going to be showing the roster to people, at least most of the roster, so you're going to want to have some new characters in there to spice it up a little bit. If you just allow the people that participate in the Invitational to only select one of 5 characters or something like that, in a similar way to how they did the 3DS demo before Smash 4 came out, it's going to be kind of disappointing. So I do expect many reveals. So while it is a hope, I do also expect many new characters to get announced, and hopefully some new modes and other stuff like that as well. Because of the increasing amount of evidence that has come out, it's been shown that Smash is probably going to be a new game, because Nintendo has even mentioned that themselves. So there is going to be lots to reveal if it is truly a new game, like the evidence is pointing towards. So with just those first two things that I've mentioned alone, Pokemon and Smash, very likely things to be at E3 this year, it could already be a great event. But I'm not done. Oh no, I'm not even close. Let's talk about Fire Emblem. Out of every game that I'm going to be talking about in this video, Fire Emblem Switch was announced first, back at the initial Switch event last January, where it was announced that a core Fire Emblem title would be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2018. That was after the announcement for Fire Emblem Warriors, sort of to calm the storm for people who didn't really want there to be just a spin-off. They did want to reassure the fans that there would be a main Fire Emblem game coming to the system. This is going to be the first home console Fire Emblem game that we've had in quite some time, so the visuals are going to be something to marvel at, because they could be fantastic, at least compared to what we've gotten recently, even though it hasn't been that bad. But a Fire Emblem big reveal at E3 would really make sense, because this title that was already previously confirmed for 2018 that we haven't heard anything about yet, when is it going to be talked about other than E3? Even if Fire Emblem Switch got delayed till 2019, which definitely is a possibility, because with Pokemon and Smash potentially coming this year, You don't really need a Fire Emblem game to come out during that same point in time. But even if it ends up getting delayed till 2019, I could still see Nintendo talking about it, doing a teaser trailer like they did to many other games that are coming out this year. Speaking of trailers for games that were supposed to be coming out this year, we haven't heard anything about the new Yoshi game coming to the Switch either. Yoshi Switch definitely wasn't one of the most hype things announced at last year's E3, but it definitely is something to add to the new release calendar of the Switch. Having a beautiful art style and some interesting gameplay mechanics because of the whole flipping idea that it had in its initial trailer, Yoshi Switch is definitely something to look forward to, and I think that if it's going to come out in 2018, it's going to get a big reveal here, and potentially a release date as well if they want to release it before the holiday season, so that it's not necessarily clouded by Smash and Pokemon, which would probably release around the holiday season. However, like Fire Emblem, Yoshi Switch also does have a potential to be delayed till 2019. What about another game that'll probably release in 2019 that was teased back at E3? Well, for this one, we only got a logo, and it got people to scream loud. Metroid Prime 4. Metroid fans, this is all they wanted. They wanted some confirmation that Metroid Prime 4 would be coming, and we got Metroid Prime 4 announced last year's E3, but we just got a logo and it said now in development. This made people think that because it was a 2017 announcement that it wouldn't even be releasing in 2018, and 2019 is much more likely. I think it could even be pushed back till late 2019 if development had just been recently starting around the time that they announced it. Nintendo knew that people would really want that announcement of Metroid Prime 4, so they wanted to get the announcement out as soon as possible on a big stage to reassure people that it's coming. But I think that if anything, we're going to be getting a teaser trailer for that game, whether it ends up coming out in early 2019, late 2019, or even past that in this E3. You gotta give the fans something. You haven't mentioned it at all in a year. People are going to want to know what's going on with that. So let's just recap a little bit before I finish off with my last realistic idea for this E3 that I think would make it even better. Pokemon, Smash, Yoshi, Fire Emblem, and Metroid Prime 4. If we get all of those games at this E3, it could definitely be one of the greatest that we've ever seen from Nintendo. But all those were technically announced prior. What about a brand new game announcement? This one that I think is fairly likely: Animal Crossing. Yes, it seems hopeful, and it is hopeful. It's something I definitely hope to come to the Nintendo Switch, but I'm going to tell you why it's fairly realistic. For the Animal Crossing mobile game, Pocket Camp, which was released last year, it was previously announced before that game came out that it would have some compatibility with main series Animal Crossing titles. And when that game came out, if it was going to have that compatibility with the already existing 3DS Animal Crossing titles, you would assume that it would have already gotten that announcement to be compatible already. But it hasn't. So that means that this app has to be compatible with something else. And what new Animal Crossing game could we get? How about Animal Crossing on the Switch? It may not get released this year, but it would have to be released fairly soon because Nintendo should know that the mobile market fades away quickly. They hop on trends and then hop off of them when it's not as relevant anymore. They're not as loyal as home console gamers. So you have to announce this compatibility between a home console game and the mobile game so that you capitalize on the market of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp before it fades away. Pocket Camp definitely didn't turn out to be this huge success as much as some of Nintendo's other mobile games. However, for a mainline Animal Crossing title, if they do announce some compatibility with it and there is still some market bear in this app, it could definitely carry over pretty well. That is the main reason why I think it is fairly realistic to expect an Animal Crossing game to be announced in E3 2018 for Nintendo. All of these games to be announced and talked about, plus some of the existing titles that we already know about like Octopath and Aces and so on, could make E3 2018 for Nintendo absolutely fantastic. And those are things that I could realistically see being announced at E3 and shown off there. This isn't even including the possibility of wildcard titles, which I'll talk about in a future video. Some hopefuls that I don't think are really too realistic to show up, but you never know with Nintendo. For more on Nintendo Switch, remember to click that round subscribe icon on the screen right now so that you'll get notified hopefully, about my latest Nintendo uploads, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.